Zepla calls out Final Fantasy XIV householder hoarders. I'm surprised that's still a thing. I thought it was like lottery based. But I guess if everyone does a lottery, not everyone. I guess if like you do every single lottery, you just increase your chances. Not sure though, but let's take a look.
Resources to help you make your dreams come true.
Or why I went all the way there.
I basically made a tweet talking about these people that like to play Mr. Monopoly with the FFXIV housing system.
Yeah.
Because all over Twitter over the weekend, I have seen screenshots from these people and like posts that they've made where they are defending what they're doing in the most smug and insufferable way possible. Now,
of course,
I do not want to, like...
I mean, the kind of people who do this, like, let's be fair, like, they're gonna have an insane amount of gil, more probably either RMT or just that's all they do in the game. And they're gonna be, you know, smug about it. Just how it is.
I don't want to instigate a witch hunt or anything in these people, but I do want to share with you some of the funny things that I've heard them say. So I'm not going to show usernames, but I have just not been able to stop thinking about some of these justifications that these people have, because like I said here, there's one thing I have noticed, because I've heard maybe 3 or 4 of these types of people defend themselves in various times throughout my time playing Final Fantasy XIV. And usually, they act like the victim. Usually they're like, I can't understand why everybody's mad at me. I can't understand why everybody's harassing me just because I wanted to buy up every house in the ward.
Yeah, and you had similar things back in COVID with people with like toilet paper and stuff.
Why do people bother me about that? I can't figure it out. I don't know why. There's one that I meme on quite a bit that I heard like a couple of years ago. One of them who had said, well, I have the gil to do it, so I can. If I can, then it's okay. If I couldn't do it, then Square Enix would stop me, which is a fair point.
Yeah.
That's
actually a really fair point. Like, I don't get how Square hasn't put like a cap on how many houses you can have, unless they're doing it like on multiple accounts. Which, because I don't think there's much Square Enix can do, right? Because how are you going to know like those accounts are all to the same person? Because even if it's an IP thing, they can just use a VPN. So, yeah, I don't know. Like, it really depends on how it's being done. Would determine like if Square Enix can do more or not. So,
very good point, actually. It is up to Square Enix. But I've heard the people say like, well, I have more money to decorate all the houses better than other people could. So it's really best that I have them all. Like, I've heard this. This is hilarious to me. This is never gonna stop being funny to me. But yeah, over the weekend I saw so much of this. Let me see if I can just show what they said without sharing their usernames. So they posted that, and you've probably seen this type of thing before. It is on all kinds of different servers and data centers. It's just to show everybody that it's one person that's got it all. And all these posts have been deleted now, so you'd really have to go out of your way to find it. I don't know how you would, but they've been deleted. First of all, thanks for reminding me to update a few of my FC's crests. It's hard to keep track. Secondly, I would warn you against your blatant harassment and stalking. Your accusations are the most problematic, though. I would appreciate you not doxing my characters and FCs.
That doesn't even make sense.
And I'll ask you once kindly to remove your posts. If you choose not to, I'll just contact an admin. Have a magical day. Only subs found it. So only subs is because they say that they only do it for, they just like to have lots of submarines. That's why they're doing it. And first thing I would say is that's not. I don't think that is what doxing means.
Yeah.
Like, unless you are actually a video game character and you live in that house, and your real name is your character's name, and you're like, you got isekai'd into the video game. I'm pretty sure that's not what doxing means, but later on,
I'm sure that's what they would wish for, right? So
seen some
maybe that's their
some
fantasy.
places where they had said that they have a lot. They have a bunch on Seraph and a lot more on Crystal. Someone asked if it was an exploit or a TOS thing, and they said no. And actually, they're right. They're right. It's not. I don't really want to put so much of the blame. Well, not. Well, let me rephrase. They should be blamed. They should feel bad. But probably the main blame is on Square Enix for allowing it to happen and for not doing anything about it for years now. Like, this isn't new. This isn't something that just started. It has always been happening. And Square Enix has not done anything. They even changed the whole housing system. They added a lottery. They tried to revamp the way the whole thing works.
Doesn't seem to have helped.
And they still didn't plug all these loopholes when they could. So, it's really on Square Enix. You need 4 people to be in an FC to enter the housing lottery. And they need to be in the FC for like 30 days. So, you would need a ton of accounts to be able to do this. You would need a ton of service accounts to be able to do this. Like, I feel like this would cost a lot of money to do. Like a lot of real money to do. And, why? Why? Like, I saw in the forums, some people saying that it could be for RMT. I do not think that is the case. Like, I don't think that the money you'd be putting in would give you a good return on your investment compared to other stuff you could do. Like, submarines, I mean, I guess it's fine passive income, but it's not that good. Really. Like, 1 million gil a day, I just don't think it would. That doesn't add up.
I mean, really the biggest problem here is that there's a limited supply, which is like the dumbest thing. Like, from what they said, that they can't make it unlimited, which I think is just dumb. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like if that's the case, like, they're held back so many times for making things that would just make the game just way better because of their, original spaghetti code. Like, at this point, just make a whole new game, because this is just going to keep happening where, something's going to come along, a new MMO, not a new MMO, but maybe an MMO like puts in a system that's really cool, and Final Fantasy 14 can't even do anything to like do something similar because of they're held back by the system or their code from back when they, re-released the game.
When I think somebody had asked them, but why? Why would you do this? And they said,
because they can.
My houses and the gil they generate are nothing but a high score to me. Like them or not, it won't dissuade me one bit. The only reason there aren't more people like me and the many other multi-house owners is because the amount of effort and investment required up front. Not to mention the time required before you start seeing progress. Actually,
way more people would be doing it if they could. Yep.
It's not very nice that you see this as a high score, but I mean, it's true.
Why not?
I do agree.
Well, it's not about niceness to them. It's, if that's how they see it, that's fine. It goes back to, why is this even an issue? And it's because of limited supply. That's literally the only reason. And these people are having multiple subscriptions. So that's, to me, I actually don't see a really big problem with it. Because this is, like, I don't know. Like, I just don't see that big of a problem, because they're not going against TOS. They're not actively trying to hurt people. They want to play the game they want how they want to play it, which is owning as many houses as they can. And, it's not their job to care about the other players. That's the developers. They're the ones who should be stepping in and doing something. They're not. Like, blaming these players just because they want to have multiple houses is freaking ridiculous. Because I have a feeling these people would do the same even if there was unlimited housing. So whether it was limited or unlimited, a lot of these people who have multi-houses would be doing it regardless. So I don't really blame them or see them as bad people. They're just playing the game how they want to play it. That's like saying getting mad at ERPers just because they kind of would creep you out maybe when you run into them. It's like, okay, but they're still playing the game how they want to play it. So I'm not going to be one of those like, oh, you can't play the game that way.
If it were easier to do, more people would do it.
Absolutely.
The only reason we don't see more people doing it is not because they're
and once again, it would be the case where they would want to do it whether it was limited or unlimited supply. Like, I really don't think a lot of cases it's malicious, at least in my opinion.
Thinking of their common man, and they are they see that as a selfish and sleazy thing to do. It's just because it's very difficult. It takes a lot of money to do it. It takes a lot of gil to do it. To the person lessening the impact of this post on me in the form of harassment and doxing of my characters. The doxing thing of my characters.
That's ridiculous. It's stupid.
It reminds me of that time.
Whoever this person is, they live in the game, at least in their eyes.
I told y'all about last week when I was a brand new streamer and someone in my FC said, "Don't put that camera in my face in our FC house."
That's funny.
I don't want it in my face.
You need consent.
You need to tell me first and get my permission to record me. And I'm like, you're not really your character.
Oh my god, that's funny.
It's anyone could be streaming you anytime.
I wonder if that's ever happened to other people.
Anyway, this post does nothing but encourage other armchair bandits to come after me. I've dealt with this before, and it resulted in several people being suspended. No one likes to be harassed for simply playing the game the way they enjoy it.
Zepla, I mean, you can laugh about it, but it is true. What if that's what you like in games? Like, you like having multiple houses and I don't know, I really don't see a big issue here. The only problem is that freaking Square Enix has a limited supply of houses, thus making this kind of gameplay not good for everyone. But the fact that they didn't have things in place to stop this kind of players shows that they don't really care either. So if the developers don't really care, why should these people? They're not paid to care while the developers are. And I'm not defending their actions and saying, oh, these are actually good people. No, they're just players. Most players are not good people. They're just playing the game how they want to play it. Whether you're raiding, PvPing, ERPing, it's whatever. You're still playing the game how you want to play, and other players should not tell you how you should be playing the game. At least in my opinion. That's for the developer to decide. And if you want to keep playing the game that the developer has made, that's on you. If you don't, then leave. Other games you can play.
Boy, that is rich, isn't it?
Find a game whose housing system is great, and that's where you should have your house. Just do everything else in Final Fantasy that you'd like, I guess.
I knew they were rich, but I didn't know they were that rich. For simply playing the game the way that I want to play the game. I just don't understand why people would want to harass me for buying up all the supply. All of the fixed supply.
Yeah, but that's not their fault. It's not like that's what they went out. They saw that there was a limited supply, therefore they went out and bought all the supply. There could be some of them who do that, I have no doubt. Let's be fair, there's probably going to be some assholes that would want to do that, but I don't think that's the majority of people who do this kind of things. I just feel like there would be other ways they could troll. If they have this kind of income, right? An insane amount of gil, a ton of money to just throw away, basically. They could really mess with the economy of the entire server as well if they wanted to, but they don't. Maybe they they do. I have no idea. I just don't feel like that's the case. It's really just the housing system that like these whales are like getting dissed on, right? And yet that's, to me, I don't know. I just feel like this is like Zepla going after players when it's 99% Square Enix's fault. Literally 99%. 1% players, and then 99% Square Enix. It's like having a game that has open world PvP with no consequences, and then blaming the players because they're like farming lobies and stuff like that. That's just what players are going to do. So to get mad at players is like a pointless endeavor. Like you're literally smashing your head against a brick wall.
They just won't leave me alone. I can't figure it out. What could it be?
No, they know. They just don't care that you're mad at them. Look, he even says it. Like them or not, it won't dissuade me one bit. They know. They absolutely know. They just don't care, just like most players don't care. When they're playing, when you're RPing, say, for example, in like a dungeon, and you're not like min-maxing your damage, and say the other players are kind of getting mad at you, most people in that situation just don't care. They're just like, yeah, whatever. I'm just playing the game how I want to play it. You don't pay for my sub. You know what I mean? Like that. But that's the case. Like most players just don't care what other players think because it's not their friends, their family. Why should they? Everyone's paying the same sub.
I don't know. So, anyways. Here's another classic reply. You guys are gonna love this one. It says, someone's like, I thought that this wasn't gonna happen anymore. And they replied, or they said, this is probably one of my favorite replies that they've done. The system is fair, but not equitable for everyone. It's also called capitalism.
Wow. That's...
If you put in even half the amount of effort into getting a house...
You know, it'd be funny. This seems like this is from someone who does not own multiple houses. This is just someone who wants to be a troll to everyone around them. I could be wrong, but that's the kind of vibe you're getting from it.
As you put into complaining about not having one, you would have a house. Multi-house owners aren't going anywhere. So instead of whining, get motivated and start asking different questions, such as, how did you get more than one house? Can you teach me how to get a house? How did you learn to get a house? Can you help me get a house? Please.
I mean, is this the same person from the previous one? It could be. At this point, it seems like they're just taunting them, though. Like, just straight up. Like, maybe they just got tired of people trying to call them out, and they're just like, look, you could be a multi-house owner too, but you're just lazy.
Chances are, the people you are demonizing are the ones with the information and resources to help you make your dreams come true. But it will require effort on your part. Have a magical day.
I mean, they're not wrong, especially with multi-house owners aren't going anywhere. Absolutely.
So,
unless Square Enix does something, they're always going to be a thing.
Basically, if you could just,
even if you banned this person from the game, like just took away all their accounts, a new one would replace them.
Maybe get on your knees and grovel and beg and say, oh please, my lord, I'm but a peasant and I know nothing of the...
To be fair though, he or she is not wrong. That instead of like complaining, these are people who own multiple housing, so they do have like some kind of system in place that helps them, like being more efficient at getting houses than the average player. So they're actually not wrong in that. If this is something like, yes, you should complain about it if you're not happy with it, But at the same time, you should work with what you have. Okay, well, this is the system we have. It sucks. Everyone knows it sucks. But these people are like able to take advantage of a system that supposedly is random. Like, hey, how are you guys doing it? I would really like a house of my own. You know, like maybe they wouldn't say, maybe they would, who knows? But at the same time, it's like it's not wrong, is what I'm saying. Like it's a bit pompous. But at the same time, it's like this person obviously, if they're a multi-house owner, it's probably pompous because they have a lot of money and gil and time.
The ways of housing, and it's very difficult for the little people like me to get a house, but if you could teach.
That's obviously true, Zepla. It's obviously true, because if it wasn't, then this wouldn't be an issue if these guys weren't buying multiple houses from the peasants, if, as you say, or it's basically true. Like the average players are having trouble buying these houses, but obviously these multi-house owners, especially the one you just showed, they had like freaking 15 houses. Obviously their system works better than the average player.
Me, my lord, if perhaps I could bring you a bushel of wheat every year, I could bring you a third of the carrots that I grow in my garden. Would that be?
And then this, in the chat, I got a bot to click a placard for me. I doubt it. Just because you get caught with a bot, they could ban you. So even if you get the house and you got banned for a bot, like, what was the point?
Be amenable.
Because at Final Fantasy XIV, like, you don't run into many bots. Surprising. I think of all the MMOs I played, it had the least amount of bots. So I have a feeling Square Enix actually does take that pretty seriously, unlike World of Warcraft or Lost Ark.
To you, my lord, if you would just give me a little place to stay, could you do that for me?
And yet that's your complaint, is that they're taking the houses that should be going to other people, so.
Please, I can barely feed myself, and I just want a little garden to grow my carrots in. Oh my goodness. Capitalism. It is capitalism.
I don't think it's capitalism. Like, it's not, because it's a lottery thing, so it's obviously has nothing to do with capitalism.
As far as I know, I don't believe that just anybody can make a business in Final Fantasy XIV where they build houses and just add extra houses. I don't think that exists.
That would be really cool.
I don't know if there's a free market in Final Fantasy.
Yeah, that's what, like, the capitalist part doesn't even make sense.
You know, sometimes I feel like you can get your head so far up your ass you get lost. Really. I do want to, I do want to reiterate here, okay? As funny as it is to meme on these people, and it's very funny to me. It's never gonna not be funny to me because it's just you have zero self-awareness. Like,
I mean, they have some, but at the same time, I don't know. I feel like they take the game seriously to the same way Zepla does. Like how she dresses up, she has her RP sessions. I don't think she does the RP, but you know what I mean? Like, she's super into the game. And these guys are as well, just in at a different angle. So I don't know if I would consider one worse or not. The only reason why everyone hates these people is because there's limited supply. Take that away, and no one wouldn't even probably know that these people exist, to be honest, or wouldn't care whatsoever. And it's the same with, like, role players and stuff. Yeah, like, to be honest, the average gamer sees role players as, like, kind of weird. At least from my perspective, and everyone I know who, like, I grew up with. Like, back when Warcraft, like, had RP servers and stuff like that, like, a lot of my friends were like, who the heck does that? Like, weirdos. But then, like, I made friends with people who do RP, and it's like, they're normal. They're not weirdos, it's just they play the game differently than me. That was all that it was. And I think this is a similar vein. Like, I think whoever this person is, like, yeah, they're pompous. They probably see themselves as, like, better than the other players because they have multiple houses, a ton of, like, accounts probably, you know, like, stupid amount of gil. But, like, that's in every game. You know, like I've in Warcraft, like you sometimes join guilds and stuff, and like the guild leader is just so far up his ass, like like it's just crazy. It's like, dude, this is a video game. Calm down. But I think this is like the same thing though. Like it's these people aren't like really being like dicks on purpose in a way. I mean, they probably some of them are, like I said, but yeah, no. I don't know. I just don't see it as like that big of a deal.
Like, none.
And this is from someone who doesn't care about housing, so obviously I'm not going to be as emotionally like impacted by people who do this. But as also someone who is into housing, I can see it from an outsider's perspective and like, okay, the issue is obvious. Limited supply. Who has the ability to fix that? Square Enix. Square Enix says they can't because of their code. Okay. Honestly, it's to a point where I think Square Enix should redo the whole housing system in a way that makes it where everyone can have their own house. I don't know if it would be possible, but if it means completely taking out the existing housing system completely and just redoing a whole new one that is maybe smaller in scale if it has to be, whatever it may be, like the island thing, like I don't know why they don't do that. To me, it would make just more sense. Just get rid of this existing housing system completely because limited supply is not cool in an MMO. And among anything, doesn't matter what it is. But housing is probably like one of the worst things on it. But yeah, no, that's it's really really sad the state where Final Fantasy 14 has things they want to do, but their code is holding them back. Like transmog, I think they said they couldn't do in the housing system. They couldn't really do, at least with unlimited supply. So
You have some real audacity. You have. Anyways, you got more nerve than a rotten tooth. Instead of fighting with each other, guys, our attention should be directed at Square Enix for allowing this mess to continue. The design of the housing system is their choice. They could work on and implement a new design. So this is something that someone else in the forums has said, and they are completely correct. They are completely correct. It is absolutely Square Enix's fault for not fixing it. A problem that's been around for as long as I have been playing this video game. It just feels like a pretty long time now.
Yeah.
Somebody else in the forums has said that.
I've heard about this since like way before that. Final Fantasy has a horrible housing system.
Different kinds of enforcement just to make sure that maybe like I don't even know how they would do it. I'm not a dev. Okay, that's.
So my sound's probably going to sound like more loud now because I noticed my microphone was like a little on the low end. So I turned it up. So if it sounds weird, I'll try to edit it or something. I don't know.
Not me, but they need to plug the holes. They could do it.
Yeah, but it's like the problem is the limited supply. I don't think they can do anything to stop that. The only way they would do it is they would have to go really hardcore with who can get houses. Like if an FC can get a house, then they need to change it where instead of an FC, your FC has to have like, I don't know, 10 people, 20 people, whatever it is. And is there levels to FCs? Like, can you level up your FC? I don't remember, honestly. If there is, then have it where your FC has to be a certain level as well. So that way, these people who are multi-housing, instead of just buying 4 accounts, they now have to buy 20 accounts. Thus, at least for most of them, maybe there will be a few where like that's not going to make a difference to them. But at least in that case, you would take out probably 80 to 90% of the current multi-housers.
If they wanted to, but it's clear that they don't want to. So I feel like a lot of times, it's very easy to get sidetracked and be like, oh, well, it's all these people.
Nope. Because if it wasn't them, it would be someone else.
Selfish, and it's their fault that the system. You need to build a system that people cannot exploit, because if there is any way for anybody to exploit it, they will.
Absolutely.
That's just how life is.
They will exploit the shit out of it too.
It is stupid to think that that everybody is all gonna, be raised right. and everybody's gonna know
I
better.
don't think
and everybody
being raised right is like the right word in here because it's like it's a video game. So you didn't get the house in the video game. Like the fact that you're crying about that shows that you're like almost as bad as these people buying the housing, the multiple houses. Like you're sad. It's a video game.
everybody's just gonna
And this is from someone who plays games all the time. So yeah, it would bother me if I couldn't get a house because of these people. But at the same time, I wouldn't be like after them. I would just say this game fucking sucks. Like, why do they have this shit system in the game I'm playing? Obviously, I really like Final Fantasy XIV. I'm not saying the game sucks in that sense, but putting myself in that position where I need a house and I can't get it because Square Enix sucks at doing their housing, like that's, I'm not going to blame that player, is what I'm saying. It's similar to when WoW has their like, when they released Dragonflight, there was a lot of bugs in the game. I didn't, and some of them were exploitable, and some players did it. I've never blamed any of those players. If they got gear or something, I'm like, for me, usually it's like, I wish I knew about it sooner. I could have done it, and that's about it. But I've never blamed a player for exploiting things because it's par course. Like if you play in an MMO or any games in general, you you blaming the player is gonna solve nothing. Absolutely nothing.
respect the common man and look out for each other. That's just silly.
No, because okay, look for example, let's position the situation a little bit different in Zepla's case. She's all about the glam, right? Now imagine if there was a limited supply of glam. Would Zepla still want to get some glams even though that meant someone else out there couldn't get it? Probably. Would Zepla do what she can to help her friends get glam even though it would make someone else not get it? Probably. Does that make Zepla a bad person? Absolutely not. Even though she's not like, and that's even a case where she's not really taking advantage of the system, but you see what I'm saying? Like, these people who do the multi-housing, right? More than likely, each of their characters are unique, like in terms of glam. Would it be multi-glamoring then if glamour had a limited supply? Yes, it would, and people would probably hate them for that too. But that's what I mean, like, it's just a limited supply is why these guys are considered assholes. That's it. It's not that they have multiple houses.
Okay, yes.
I'm repeating myself,
Square
someone
Enix
stop.
implemented a whole system change to prevent people from owning multiple houses, but they just let people circumvent these. They don't care. I think you're right. I think they really just don't care. I don't know if it's happening on JP or not.
It is.
But actually, later on in the thread, and this
it would
goes
surprise
back
me
to
if
the
it
point
wasn't.
of, the rules are ambiguous, the rules are easy to exploit. Someone else in the thread chimes in, and they're saying,
Well, it being ambiguous doesn't mean it's easy to exploit. Usually when rules are ambiguous, is that way it's a bigger net to catch more people. And yeah, some people may get away, but most things like Square Enix can be like, oh no, that's against the rules. And because it's ambiguous enough to where they don't really have to justify it.
well, I have a solo FC, okay? I'm alone in my FC, and that's how I got a house. And that's an unintended use of the system, okay?
I thought you had to have 4 people in your FC.
It's allowed, though. So therefore, this other thing that those slumlords are doing, that's also unintended use of the system, but it's technically allowed, so it's okay, right?
I mean, it's like I was saying, yeah. In this particular case, one of the ways they can combat this is having it where you need more people in your FC. And, if FCs had a level, they should probably implement that system. Because with that system, it would also really help combat these people who do multi-housing. So.
If this can be considered as being allowed, which indeed it is, then owning more than a single house is as well. Because both use the system in ways it wasn't intended to. So it's basically...
Yeah, and no one cares about people who have solo FCs because there's no limited supply of FCs that are available. It's exactly what I was saying.
The same, right? They both use the system in unintended ways, so there's probably not like any difference in scale or number of people it affects or anything like that. I mean, logically, having a single solo FC isn't in the same level as owning an entire ward, but still, I too have a solo FC. So I have the decency of not complaining about what other people do with the system. It kind of felt more like, well, I don't care about them because I already got mine. Like, I got mine, so, you know.
That's most people, though.
Slumlord was in there like, oh, well, you guys can't call me out on the...
I don't know if slumlord's even the right word, because it's not like these people are renting these houses for like a crazy amount.
Forums, because this constitutes targeted harassment, and this is one of the reasons why I do not want to show their name. I don't want to say who they are, because I don't want to be... I don't think it's necessary. I don't want to contribute to targeted
It also wouldn't do anything.
Person. I don't want to instigate a witch.
I mean, obviously it would do something to this particular person, but like someone would replace them, like more than likely within 24 hours, probably within 10.
But I do want to meme on them and people like them because they're not unique. There are plenty of people that do it, and the real blame should be directed at Square Enix, because if it wasn't them, it would be somebody else. They're not going to go away as long as they can do it. They will do it. You cannot just rely on the people's good graces to not do it.
And that's what a lot of people are worried about with Ashes of Creations. Like, this is a perfect example of it, where it's like, if you leave things in the player's hand, the players will not care about other players' like gameplay. They just don't. They're just going to do what they think is fun, and if ganking lobbies is fun, they're going to do that.
I think that's very naive. A casual player who AFKs in Limsa 6 days a week will never understand the why, because they're blinded by entitlement. Every time they see a Square Enix charge on their bank statement to pay for their subscription. Whew.
Let's read this for a second. The Tin Hats morons? I really don't like that when I pause it. It like brings up this stuff. More than a year to break even on a single FC house with subs, meaning you are investing millions and millions of gil plus your time, just a few mil per month. That's just one house. I can imagine the boogeyman you are actually referencing laughing hysterically at this absurd hypothesis, because losing a year of effort is just not economical in the slightest. People do this because it's a high score. They love the grind. They love to collect houses. They love Final Fantasy 14. I mean, that's all true. I think after that point is just going off on some stupid argument, but like it is, like I said, I mean, a lot of these people would do this thing even if there wasn't a limited supply. The limited supply isn't why most of them are doing it. I would assume because they do it in other games that don't have a limited supply and they still do it, so.
Local housing mogul who purchased every house in the ward thinks that AFKers in Limsa are entitled. More news at 11. This clown can't be real. That's what I thought. Like, the more I read of it, I was like, this gotta be a troll. It's too funny. It's too funny, and it's too obviously, like, crazy. But, yeah, it's real. It is real, because I had seen, posts from them on Discord, too. A little less hyperbole and a lot more sense is what this forum needs. There is less supply of it than S-tier larges on Balmung. This is a classic. Do you see now why I had to show this to you? Like, we're gonna have so many memes for days. There's less supply of sense on here than S-tier larges on Balmung. This guy. It's kind of crazy to me that they said it's not even for the money. It's not for the gil. It's not for RMT. It's just for the high score. To me, it was almost worse to find that out.
Why? Sorry, Zepla, but it's like you've been playing games for a while. You should understand that is a thing. Even World of Warcraft, it doesn't have housing, but there are players who just want to get as much gold as possible. That's a high score to them. You know, that or their item level, whatever it may be, this arbitrary number. Like they want to see number go higher, or it's the damage they do. You know, the DPS meter.
It's really just to be an asshole
No,
for the sake of lording it over others.
no, it's not. That's like saying anyone who is like parsing is an asshole to so they can lord it over others. Anyone who grinds gold is an asshole because they want to lord it. No, they're like doing it. I don't see anything wrong with it. The only reason why it's an issue is because there's limited supply in Final Fantasy. That's it.
There's not even like a good reason.
Because if they were lording it over others, like that'd be different. Like if they were going throughout like the chat in Final Fantasy and like going in there like who has how many houses? I have them all. You guys have nothing. Like something like that. You know what I mean? But they're not doing that. I would assume. I've never seen it during my whole time playing Final Fantasy 14. A lot of them do this, and the only reason it's even known is because you can see who owns the houses. They're not like shouting at the rooftops that they're doing this to people.
It's just pretty much just like, well, because I can. It sucks so much that it's become this microcosm of all the problems that we are trying to get away from in a real life. Is this kinds of people
In a sense, but
do this and just do not have any sense, like do not have any concern for other people at all. It's so tacky. Capitalism. Oh my god. I'm so exhausted by this idea that anytime you want to look out for your common man or share anything, it's socialism.
no. I mean, to a degree, I mean, I see what she's saying, but I think most of the time it's that they don't care and they're going to use things that are going to bother people. It's similar to how a lot of them will go straight for your race. It's because they know it's going to bother you. But I really do think like, and this is going to be maybe a hot take here. I think Zepla is not looking at it from their point of view, just refusing, does not want to see it from their point of view. So put yourself in a position where that is what you like in a game. You like owning multiple houses in whatever game it is. It may be, maybe that's why they play Final Fantasy, is because they saw it had a housing system. They're like, I want that. I want to have 10 houses, 50 houses, whatever it may be. Is that really up to Zepla to say, oh, you can't play Final Fantasy because we have a limited supply in our game, therefore you are not the kind of gamer that we want playing this game? Who fucking cares? Zepla is just a player like them. Right? And that's how they're going to see it. They're just like, who are you to tell me how I want to play my game that I paid for? You know, like you're not the developer. You can't ban me. I'm not breaking rules. Like, yeah, to me, like that's how I see it. Like I put myself in that position. Like, okay, if I was the player who maybe that's what I like doing in games, just owning a bunch of houses, and I happen to like the, you know, how Final Fantasy looks, plays, and then I see it has a housing system. Great, cool. I'm gonna buy as many as I can. You know, this is my hobby. This is what I like to do. The only reason other people are mad at these people is because there's limited supply. Like I said, I mean, I'm not saying that. Really, what I'm trying to get across is I don't like it when players think they can tell other players how to play the game when the developers are the ones who decide that. It's just like I didn't play Mortal Online 2 and stuff like that because I'm not into open world PvP. But imagine if like me going in there and then trying to tell everyone, hey, don't kill me. I don't want to lose my stuff. I don't care that the game has open world PvP. I just want to play it the way I want to play it. Everyone would see me like as a dickhead, right? Because it's like, well, why are you playing the game then? It's in the game. You know it was in the game. why are you playing the game? I see it as the same way. Like, why are you trying to invest into this housing system that is just so broken that it's been known since like the game was released? Because I remember this being an issue for freaking years now. Like the vanilla version of like Final Fantasy 14, not the one that was like scrapped, but like its first expansion basically, or whatever version, the original version of it, it was an issue then too. So to me, this is like, I don't even know what to compare it to because it's such a ridiculous thing. Like, if you don't like a system in the game that hasn't been fixed, and even when they tried to fix it, it did nothing. It's like, why are you still trying to invest into this system? Like, you're wasting everyone's time both complaining about it, like, not even complaining about it, because I think you should complain about things that are like this, but it seems like Square doesn't give a damn. So, I don't know. It just feels weird to me that everyone hates these people when it's like, you should be hating Square Enix. Okay, these people aren't assholes, probably some of them. But to be fair, you could say that about any group in Final Fantasy, whether it's raiding, PvP, RPers. Like, there's probably assholes in all of those groups. And it's going to be the same with people who want multiple housing. But to be fair, it's like I said, none of these people are like out there like screenshotting all their housing and like spamming it across every forum. Maybe there's one or two assholes that may do that, but the majority of them are just silent. Why? Because they're playing the game. They're doing what they want to do. And I think that's fine. You know, Square allows it through the TOS. Maybe I'm just like that, you know, where it's like, do what you want to do as long as it's not against the law and you're not hurting anyone. This case, they're not really hurting anyone. These aren't real houses, okay? You're not becoming homeless because someone in Final Fantasy 14 has multiple housing. That's just how it is. Like, yes, you can't do a thing in a game that you wanted to do because of someone else doing it. But that's not their fault. That's fun. That's Square Enix.
Anytime you want to hoard everything for yourself and
like I said though, like if there was no limited supply, these people would still be doing the same thing. So
exploit every rule.
They're not exploiting anything. To a degree, they're not, because exploits would get you banned, Zepla. Just straight up. You can't say they're exploiting when that's not the case, because if they were and you could prove it, they would all get banned. Like, how are they exploiting? Like, that's the part that they don't bring, she doesn't bring up. Them doing it and not getting banned shows that it wasn't breaking any rules. Because there's no rule in Final Fantasy 14 that says only one house per person. I think it's per account, if that, or per FC. I'm not sure. But either way, it's like not a rule that these people can't do what they're doing. So there's no exploiting going on. Maybe they're not adhering to the spirit of the rules, if you want to call it that. But at the same time, Square Enix makes the rules. They can just add it in there. You know, they don't, it's not a legal contract. They can just put in there, hey, we're seeing all these people are owning one house or multiple houses. So these are the new rules. You have to have an FC that has 20 people. If you don't have an FC that has 20 people within 30 days, you're going to lose your house. Something like that. You know what I mean? It's super easy to fix, but they don't. So they're not exploiting the rules. Because if they're exploiting, more than likely, Square Enix would have fixed it. Think of any other exploits. They get hot fixed. So I don't see this as an exploit.
And make all the money and fuck all the people?
Make all the money. They probably don't even make that much. I mean, I'm not going to say they don't make like a good amount, but the insane investment to make the money doesn't even make sense. Like, I've never heard of someone wanting to get a house just because they want to make money. Like, there's way better ways of making money. And you got to remember how many accounts they bought for this. So they could just RMT the crap out of it instead. Because they have to have multiple accounts, right? That they're paying for subs. Like, freaking probably dozens of subs. So that's just I don't think that's an argument in this case.
That's capitalism.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
I mean, that seems kind of silly to me that we have to have like.
I don't think it's
everything has to
capitalism
be,
or
like, completely one or the
socialism.
other. It's not what those things mean
Yeah, that's true.
at all. That is not what those things mean.
That is true.
People have no idea what capitalism, socialism is. No, they don't. No, they do not. It's not capitalism, it's human nature.
I don't know if human nature is the right wording here, because like I said, I don't think a lot of them do it because there's limited. I'm sure some of them do, but I really do believe that if you took away the limited availability and just had it all unlimited, you can have as many as you want, everyone having as many as they want, most people would have more than one house. You know, and all these people like who have already like bought all of them, they'd probably have a ton more, to be honest. If they made it easier, like they didn't have to buy so many subscriptions and all that, so that even like a normal person could have multiple housing. Like, just being honest, I'd probably have like 3, and I'm not even into housing, but I'd probably do it just because I could. If it was unlimited, like even if there was limited, like if it was possible for me to do it, I'd probably do it just because I don't know. If I was still playing the game, obviously I'm not, so why would I even have a house? But at the same time, it's like I don't really think of those things. Like when you're buying things at an auction house in the game, are you thinking about the person who could have bought it if you didn't buy it? No, you just buy it because you need it and you want it, so you buy it. That's a limited supply, technically. That auction that you just bought is no longer there. But you don't think about the people who would have wanted that item at that price. Why should you? So, yeah, I think it's a silly thing to talk about. I do think it is funny, though, them trying to defend themselves. I don't think they should. I think they should just do what they do and not care what other people say. But it is funny to see their arguments are just ridiculous. Because I think it's an argument that doesn't need to be defended to begin with. So, alright, that was Zepla calls out Fun Fest for 14 House Hoarders. Maybe I'll get some crap for what I'm saying here. I don't really care, to be honest. Just because it's housing in a game. Like, I'm not going to care that you didn't get the house in the game. Just like, there's plenty of people who couldn't even freaking afford the game. Do you care about those people? No, you don't. So why should I care about like you wanting a house in a game? It's just how it is, man.